How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we're taking a look at the kind of update information and also the kind of bundles that came in. We're going to have a look at them. Are they worth it? Are they not? Kind of go over those and kind of really pick on certain tanks that you might want to pick up during this week. They've not given us a news article, so I'm going to have to use the forum post, but then I will go in game to kind of highlight the different tank bundles and which ones I reckon you should pick up personally. And then we're going to go over the two events that are going on as well. Yesterday's video went over them and kind of talked about the kind of silver ops and the earn ops and stuff like that are coming out, and whether I think that they're actually that good, whether they're good for the game or the health of the game, and also thinking about kind of making a video as well on potential new kind of ways they can implement ops to make them a bit longer lasting and part of a general bigger scheme of ops. Other than that, we will get straight into it, and the first things first is obviously assignment echoes going on. You have to earn 60k XP in a week, I believe it is, and after you complete all of the ones, you'll probably end up with around 800,000 silver. So yeah, the big one at the end is 500,000 silver for completing it. You have the Bruiser's Bounty, which is getting an extra 25% XP on your first win of the day, I believe, so on every single tank, so you can do that on every tank once a day. So yeah, and then moving on to the actual bundles and the other things that are coming out, we've got +1, -1 matchmaking for the week until the 8th of March. We've also got 50% off equipment, so if you want to pick up equipment, purchase that really well right now. You want to be picking up every single piece of equipment that you need for all of your different tanks. I don't know how often this is going to come around, but it's definitely something you need to focus on stocking up all of your tanks and stuff like that. What else has come out? Obviously there's the bundles, and we'll go over them in just a second. I want you to know that there will be special discounts on the weekend and the different ops as well on the weekend too. Leading the charge, I believe you get an extra XP bonus or an extra silver for coming in the top 5 XP earners on the team, and then I'm not entirely sure what they shall not pass will be, but last time I think that they gave us a key card for completing it, and that was getting like 30,000 damage or something like that in total in any number of games. So those two will probably be coming this weekend. I will go over the specific ops as and when they come out later on in the week. I do have a giveaway video that will be coming out tomorrow, or it'll either be a giveaway video or a post depending on how I'm feeling, and that will just highlight the winners for the giveaway and who's actually won the different tanks. And then I'll need you guys, whoever the winners are, to actually pick the tank that you want to be credited with from the premium tech tree in game. So any premium tank, obviously. Now let's jump over to the game just after we've done the fixes and improvements. Now, as you might have seen in game, you now have a view cone. So that's like the little like grayed out cone when you move your tank in the mini map. That basically indicates how far you can spot. The little circular round bit is your where you'll get detected from, basically, so that's your concealment. It's obviously bigger on the move, except from when you're in light tanks, so when you're stationary that will decrease, and when you move it will increase, so you can use that to know when you're likely to get spotted, if you're going to outspot an enemy tank and stuff like that. Penetration indicator is more accurate, so you'll be able to see a little bit better where you've been hit from. They've made the kill feed background more translucent. They fixed muting players in custom games lobbies. They put the M56 Scorpion back to the tech tree, cleaned up the op screen, fixed the missing celebration screen on keycards after skipping the playback video. You've got multi-tank bundle gifting issues have been fixed, so you can gift bundle tanks together. Fixed the resource conversion screen, so I think it was showing too much XP and stuff like that when you tried to convert it, or like gold to silver and stuff like that. And also the rewards reel icon sizing has been reviewed. some emblems that we're not correctly showing are now actually showing in the like little box, and various tank commander fixes have been made and cleaned up. Other than that, we'll jump over onto the actual game and have a look at the bundles in just a second. So here we are on the bundle screen. We've got a few different new bundles that came in this week as part of the kind of bundles that we get every single week. We got a few new personal offers as well, and we're going to have a look at those in just a second. The first two personal offers that you can pick up are the Talon T-44-122 or 122. This is basically like it's not particularly a tank I would want to be getting, in my opinion. I think it's pretty weak. The turret is a stock IS, which is not fantastic at all, and can be penned by most tanks in the game. The hull is pretty weak as well. At the front, only 75mm angled a little bit, which makes it slightly better, but yeah, not great. I think additionally you've got things like the accuracy being absolutely terrible, 0.43 accuracy on a medium tank where you're going to be moving as well, so the dispersion on the move is going to be awful. Yeah, not a tank I would particularly want anyone to pick up, but for 3,935 gold, then you may want to pick it up, but I wouldn't focus my gold on that. I'd much rather have something like the Bellerophon, which is just basically a spaced armoured version of a Centurion 5/1. Yeah, a really, really good tank. Definitely one I would recommend out of those two to pick up this week. Yeah, fantastic. Its armour actually works. Since you do have the really good turret of the Centurion, when they got buffed, it now has in the region of 240 on the front. So yeah, it's really good. Plus the spaced armor of 30mm on the front makes it really hard to hit. You can hit the cupolas of it, but it's really, really even more difficult than usual. So yeah, a tank that I would 100% recommend. You do have the lower plate as a weakness, but that is pretty much the same as any tank. But this thing can be really, really good hold down. 10 degrees of gun depression too. So yeah, fantastic tank, and I would 100% recommend picking it up if you haven't already. I haven't got it personally, but if I was to pick up anything this week on its own, then definitely this tank would be it. Obviously those two are in the last kind of chance in order to pick those up for the season pass, but if you've actually done the season pass, I would never recommend actually spending 22,000 gold on a tier 10. Yeah, crazy. The weekly deals, we do have the T78 and the IS2. T78 is a tank you could have picked up for free as part of like the Xbox kind of ultimate pass type thing. You can pick up the IS2 for really cheap. So for a tier 7, it's only 2,800 gold. You're looking at a decent tank. It does earn 35% bonus silver, so if you're looking at getting a little bit of silver, still not as good as a tier 8 premium, but it does have that 35% bonus silver. Yeah, it's basically the same as the IS2 M, or like the Chinese one, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a good tank. It's very similar to the IS, so if you like that one, then definitely like this one. It's kind of just a skinned version of it. The T78 we've gone over, and then we come to the bundles here. You have got the American Fortitude, the T32A Proto. That is a autoloader with a 320 alpha damage gun. I believe it gets 3 in the clip. Doesn't tell you actually on the game, but it does, I believe, get a 3-shot autoloader. Yeah, it's a good tank. Do I think it's overpowered? Probably not. I think there's far better autoloaders out there. I think it's fairly slow, going 35 kilometers an hour, but it's definitely a tank that you might want to pick up if you're big on the premium American tanks and also autoloaders as well. I think it's a good one for those of you who haven't got it already. The M56 is a little kind of sneaky, really, really sneaky tank destroyer on the American line, similar to the E25, but it does get a bigger gun. I think you do 240 alpha in this thing. Yeah, it's really fun, and you can set it up with a ridiculous concealment, as you can see on screen. This is my setup so far. I've got 228 meters still concealment, and if you set yourself up in a bush with muffled shot and stuff like that, you really do become impossible to find. Fantastic tank, and I would 100% recommend that tank if it comes up on sale, because it will be fairly cheap as well on its own, and I believe it's probably going to come on sale soon. We then have the M46 Korean pattern. It's a decent pattern, to be honest. Very similar to the pattern at tier 8 from the tech tree. It's just a premium version. Does earn a little bit of money, 57% bonus silver, which is one of the higher end for the cheap kind of premiums, other than like things like the Ragnarok, which gains 75% silver bonus. This tank is fairly decent. This is a good bundle if you haven't got any of the tanks. It's got a bit of variety in there. You've got the autoloader, you've got the sneaky TD, and you've got the medium that's, kind of like a proper medium where your gun's pretty fast firing, but also packs a punch, and you've got a little bit of armour too. So yeah, that one's a good bundle. The next one that can't be really said. I don't think that anyone should really pick this bundle up. In terms of for the price, I think the Excalibur's a good tank, but I don't think it's probably worth picking one up for that much. Carnarvon Action X, we've already got that tank because it's the Paladin, I believe. I think they're the exact same tank. If you've got the Paladin from the free earn up, then you definitely don't want this bundle, because it will count as a tank that you don't own, so you won't get any silver or anything, or the gold back. And then the FV4202P, I think that's a decent tank, but it isn't the best bang for your buck this week. Still a decent kind of one if you haven't got any of the tanks or the variants of the tanks like the Paladin. It's one I'd kind of keep an eye on, but at 9,000 gold it's not particularly that expensive, but not one I'd focus on. Then we've got the Soviet Resistance. This one's kind of interesting because it's similar to the all-rounding nature of the other packages. So we've got the T103, the tank destroyer. It's got fairly decent armour. I can kind of say it's like an SU-100Y at tier 8. It's interesting to say the least. When you're looking at the armour, the turret's fairly good, but it has these awful cupola type things on the front, little droids that you can pen so easily. The frontal hull as well is not particularly great, and the top of the turret, you've got that other droid there, which you can pen really easily. It's gigantic as well, but it does get that 440 alpha at tier 8, and reloads fairly quick too. I think it's kind of one of those that could be interesting for those of you who aren't used to 440 alpha and these kind of big ogreish tanks. Then we've got the IS-5. I think this tank is actually fairly decent, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of on that 257 kind of line in terms of what it looks like. The armour is not particularly great on the side, and you can often be penned through the tracks on the side armour. So even when you're frontal on, they can actually pen you through the tracks really easily. But frontal armour is actually really fairly decent. You do get 390 alpha, and but you do have pretty poor DPM, I'm not going to lie, with 4.76 rate of fire rounds per minute. What do I think? I think this bundle so far is not looking particularly amazing. It's definitely not the best Russian tanks premiums anyway. T44-100, this is the Motherland, except the non-skin version, I believe, or at least this gets spaced actually. I think that this tank is actually fairly decent. You can side scrape in it. Due to the spaced armour, it's going to allow you to kind of side scrape against heavies. You just want to watch out for your turret, because it's probably the weakest point if you're side scraping. What do I think? It would probably be a decent tank if you're into your Russian mediums, the T44 and T43, and the T54. I think overall though, the bundle is probably not the one you want to pick up. Then we do have the French Flare. I think that this one's kind of interesting. It does have the Somua, which I did highlight last week as being fairly strong and fairly decent. And if you could pick it up in a bundle, it's probably better than picking up on its own. But the other tanks in the bundle aren't particularly amazing. I think that the HMH M51, it's just like a Revelarize, but a British version, or like British skinned version, or Heavy Metal Heroes version it is. Do I think the Revelarize stacks up any now? No. Armour is terrible. Pretty much get penned with HE, to be honest with you. Gun is fairly decent, but fairly inaccurate at the same time. It's kind of one of those that got left behind a little bit. I think it could be good, but then you get the AMX Chaffee, which is pretty awful in my opinion. I think at tier 7, which it lies at, it's not really that competitive. You're going to have to fight premium against tier 7s, to be honest, because although you've got decent, you don't need 202mm to go through tier 7s, you might need more than 144, and the fact that you get 135 alpha is really not that fun. You do get, I think, 6 shots in your clip, because it is an autoloader, and it can be fun, but you do only get 600 health as well, which is literally tier 6s get more health than you. It's not really a tank that I'd ever really recommend. You do get 20% bonus crew XP and 60% bonus XP. It doesn't give you any more silver either, so you will lose a ton of money. I don't think it's one for many people, and it certainly isn't particularly that strong in game. So I don't think I'd recommend that this bundle to anyone, because the Sommu is really good on its own. But as part of this bundle, I don't think you'd want to pay that much more for the other tanks unless you really want them. It's like if you're willing to spend it for these two, then the AMX Chaffee's a nice kind of extra. But it certainly isn't going to be one that you want to play loads and loads of games in, at least personally, from my point of view. We did get a few other things, so you can buy repair kits and rations and stuff like that for gold, but to be honest, I'd never really recommend purchasing consumables for gold. I think they're fairly expensive for what they are. I think the best thing to buy is maybe the ×2 silver XP boost, but even then it's probably not that worth it. I think that, if you want to do that, then go ahead, but if it was my gold and my silver, it's not kind of the thing I'd want to be spending it on. Other than that, that's pretty much all of the bundles and all of the tanks. What do I think of them? Fairly decent. The one I'd probably go for is the American Fortitude out of this week's bundles, but they're not particularly amazing, and I'd wait until till this kind of afternoon to be able to, or this weekend even, to be able to pick up some better bundles which are coming out, and we'll highlight those in just a second. So this weekend's kind of deals that you can pick up are the Iron Obliterators. This is the bundle. There's 2 separate tanks that you can pick up as well. But the Iron Obliterators will be probably in the region of 60% off, I'd expect. So you're looking at the Scorpion G, the Iron Rain, and the Shashka. This one's been out before. And then obviously you get ammo and garage slots as well. So what is this bundle? It's pretty broken, to be honest. I think I'd really enjoy to get any of them. Don't have enough gold to pick them up myself, so I don't think I'll be getting them anytime soon. But I would guess in the range of about 11,000 gold for all of them. Definitely worth it if you haven't got any of them. The Scorpion G is really good. The Iron Rain's fairly good as well, but fairly slow. And the Shashka SU-130PM is broken. Other than that, there is the E25 on its own, so that'll be 50% off, because that's kind of how they go with the deals. So I'm expecting that will be 3,600 gold, I would expect, because I think it's 7,000 on its own, but that's just going from memory. I'm not entirely sure, so just watch out for that. I don't know how much that will be in specific, but probably in the region of 3,600 if it is a 50% off. And then you can pick up the Yahtzee WZ-120 1G FT, that's the Chinese non-turreted tank destroyer at tier 8, and that should probably be in the region of 5,000 gold, something like that. What do I think of them? I think the E25 is a good pickup if you haven't got it. It's really unique, really rapid firing, kind of like machine gun, really, really stealthy as well and fast. It's definitely kind of a nuisance to play against if you're trying to outspot it, because that just doesn't happen. And then you get the ATSI if you want that as well, which is, a good one, but definitely not an amazing one. Other than that, that is everything to go on, except from the Britannia Panther, which is the third personal offer. Just going over that as well. But yeah, what do I think of this week's kind of bundles? I think they're pretty lackluster. I don't like particularly many of them. I do like the +1 -1 matchmaking event and the 50% off equipment. I like those. I kind of like the ops, but I'm not so fan of just Assignment Echo where it's just you get silver. I'm really hoping that they'll start trying to introduce bigger things like an actual marathon where it might last 2 months, and instead of it being like log in every day and play 3 battles, it would be better off making like a proper contract like they used to do back in the day with the mercenary tanks. I kind of like the concept of that, maybe not in terms of the tanks that you get because they were pretty overpowered, the mercenary ones, but if they introduce kind of a different system like they do have on PC with the personal offers or personal missions even, I think that would be better than having these kind of generic challenges that they have currently. Other than that, I don't want to waffle anymore, and I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to see all of the latest news and kind of overview and discussion of all of the latest information Wargaming give us. If you want to check out some previous content of mine, they should be on screen right now. If you don't want to do that, then I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.